Good morning, and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Mary Ann Clark, and I will be your co-celebrant for this morning's service. Our minister, Lori King Nelson, is in the public this morning, yay! If you have been here before, one time or many, you are welcome here. All People's Church is more than a place to gather on Sundays. It's a community. It's a spiritual home where you can develop and deepen your gifts. We gather to feed our minds and souls that we may each become blessings to our families, to our friends, and to the larger world around us. If you are a visitor today and you haven't signed up, please do. There's a visitor's table by the front door. Signing in will give us an opportunity to acknowledge your visit and put you on the mailing list to get weekly emails and our monthly newsletter and a name tag. And I just done mine. So, before we continue, we have lots of announcements. I'm just going to make a note of this one so I won't forget it. Okay, so first announcement is the service auction. Our service auction is Saturday, November 9th. Please put it on your calendar now. Donation forms are on the table in the foyer. The APC choir has begun rehearsing for the winter concert. If you would like to sing in this concert with no obligation to continue singing with the service, please attend rehearsals on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Mark your calendars for November 24th, the Carter Blood Care Blood Drive. You can sign up by scanning the QR code on the flyer at the table out front, or see Lori, if you need help or have questions. This act of gratitude will net you a really nice blanket as a thank you gift. But wait, there's more. The Social Justice Book Discussion Group that is currently discussing Texas Tough meets today after church in the Jaggers parlor. Please join us. Is there something else happening in the parlor? Anyway, you can work that out. And Joe is going to make an announcement about Don't Forget to Feed Me.
Good morning, everyone. It's the second Sunday, and everybody knows what I'm going to say. But let me start out by saying thank you so much for all of the donations that all of you have given to Don't Forget to Feed Me in the past. You have saved thousands of families from losing their beloved pet friends. So thank you. And now, today is Tuesday, today is Sunday, the second Sunday, and I would like to ask if you can, any amount helps. $1 can buy a lot of cat and dog food. So just see me after service during the coffee hour, and once again, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Joe. And our last announcement is there's a Spectrum concert here on Sunday, October 20th at 3 p.m. So this is not the usual time. 3 p.m. on Sunday, October 20th. Pick up a poster and share it with friends and coworkers. Josh Jordan, our choir director, is in a concert by the Fort Worth Chorale on October 13th, which is today, at 3:30 in the I. M. Terrell Performing Arts Center. And that's all the information I have on that. I think that's all the announcement. Does anybody else have an announcement? Wow, we are announcement rich this morning. Okay, so please settle down, and Misha will lift our hearts with music.
Thank you for the opening music. I also want to say a big thank you, in addition to Joe being up here talking about don't forget to feed me. There was a call out this past weekend, Friday to Saturday, about a small dog that had wandered up to Joe's door. And when she took the time to have the dog scanned and figured out that this dog was missing from El Paso.
Wow.
Yeah. So Joe immediately contacted the people, but they said they weren't going to be able to come in for several weeks. And so she was trying to find a place where this dog could stay for 3 weeks. And there were so many people available to call. And that is just such a beautiful thing that she could reach out to almost anyone in this congregation and they would find a way to help. Fortunately, the family came yesterday and picked the dog up. The dog had been missing for 2 years.
Wow.
I would love to hear the whole story from the family about what happened. It's just, so thank you to Joe for sticking through the end of that and making sure that that sweet dog got reunited with its family. I know they appreciate it. Our opening words are by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today, in this place, and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. May we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light today light our way.
We invite you now to stand as you are willing and able for our chalice lighting, for the opening hymn, and for the spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words are from L.K. Lights. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're from Reverend Scott Taylor. Read the wrong line. Come, let us listen with new ears. Do you hear it? That voice, so familiar and yet still far. Less a longing and more a knowing. A whisper of something inside us that seems to have known us longer than we've known it. Come, let us listen together. Please join now in singing our opening hymn, the hymn of the month for October. It's 1008 in the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please join me now in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls should grow into harmony with creation, thus we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Will the young or the young of heart please join us up here at the front? And are kids coming in?
And there may or may not be any today. Well, today we're kind of talking about hearing and hearing the truth. So what I was going to talk with the young people about is about what is true for them. Because what's true for them may not be what's true for someone else. I was going to let them know that I hate onions. That's a truth about me. And that's the truth. I hate them. But that might not be your truth. You may love onions and hate liver. So we're all different. Now, there are some truths that are absolutely the same all the time. The truth about being nonviolent, the truth about loving our neighbors, those kind of truths stand no matter what. But we can have individual truths within those things that speak to our personal nature of ourselves. So that was a message that I wanted to share with the young people today, that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to have a different truth from someone else, because we're all made holy and divine and different. All right, well, let's sing the love for our young people out.
Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in congregations of all sizes. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members, each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. It is our custom to share the undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week. We do this on a quarterly basis for a nonprofit or a charitable organization. Our Share the Plate recipient for the fourth quarter is the Partnership Home, which was formerly the Tarrant County Homelessness Coalition. If you prefer, donations can be made using the QR code that's on the back of the order of service. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward? 90, Light of Ages and of Nations. This hymn is actually in the hymnal twice under two different tunes. So if Misha will play a little bit of it so that we'll know which one it is, that would be helpful. One.
So I mentioned that we're talking about listening for the truth today. So before I do the reading, I just want to tell you something that was going on while I was writing my sermon yesterday. And so I have a cousin who lives down in South Central Texas in a very, very conservative place, and he is not a conservative man. And so he was on Facebook, as usual, stirring the pot, and which I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook anymore. I'm usually just reading what others are posting, and I'm just minding my own business. But this particular post, I just had to insert myself. A woman was really giving him such a hard time because he's an atheist, and he was saying, this is what the Bible tells you to do, and he was talking about some of the really horrible things that it tells you to do in the Hebrew Bible. And this woman came on and she said, oh, you know, people don't throw literal stones anymore. Nobody's getting hurt by that. You know, we've moved beyond the Old Testament. And so I came on and I asked her, how do you just move on from something that in your faith tradition is a part of what you worship, what you preach from, what you learn from, that the Hebrew Bible was supposed to have been written by God themselves. And she came back and said, so, where did you get your religious training? The internet? And I let my cousin take it from there. But it was all a part of not listening, not hearing. She just wanted an argument. She did not want to know who was right or who had any truth at all. She just wanted to throw that out there and then get mean about it. And she did not respond to me at all after my cousin told her where I did get my religious training. So it reminded me, though, that I feel like I'm kind of on the right path with not responding so quickly like I used to people that are just kind of trying to get at you. And I think it's been a real spiritual practice for me just to read what they say and then kind of think about it for a while. And like what happened yesterday, I don't always do it, but I'm trying. So our reading today comes from Michael Larson. My ears are tired, Brandon said one day. My ears are tired. I don't remember what had happened, or if it was my words or someone else's that had exhausted his ears, but I know exactly what he was talking about. Maybe you do too. Have you ever had tired ears? I have. My guess is that most of us today are living with tired ears. My ears are tired of hearing the endless talk that doesn't say anything. They are tired of hearing the same old words, repeating the same old ideas. They want to tingle with poetry that inspires, invitations that excite, and the conviction that we really can make a change. They are weary of hearing words that excuse, justify, and defend, but never commit, confess, or come clean. They are worn out by the chatter that keeps life superficial, and they long to hear words of depth and vulnerability. They are dizzy from words that spin the truth rather than words that tell the truth. They are exhausted by words of negativity, criticism, and blame. My ears want to rest in whispers of beauty, recover in the echoes of possibilities, and be renewed by shouts of joy. They want to be filled with faith, hope, and love, instead of being plugged up by certainty, fear, and hatred. They want to hear the song of life, calling each of us to the dance floor. At this time in our service, we pause to honor and give time and attention to those things most important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts, and to honor our time together with the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week there's a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope before the service. We honor these messages by lighting these 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward to light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of our chancel. In our book of memory and hope this morning, we have been asked to remember. And I think that there are only two. Please lift up all who struggle to find their place in the world and in their families once they come out. Help them to know that they are fearfully, wonderfully, lovingly, and queerfully made. Prayers for the children who are sex trafficked both physically and digitally. Our meditation words come from Reverend Scott Taylor. In this space carved out by our quiet connection, we give thanks for the many forms of love that have formed us. The love of family that brings us into being, allows us to bloom, and then sends us on our way with the reminder that we can return no matter what. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust and help us to know that who we are does not end at the barrier of our own skin. The love of friends who help us feel seen and sing our song back to us when we cannot hear it with our ears alone. The love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And the greatest love, the love that will not let us go, even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home, friends. If we listen, it is doing so even today. We pause at this time to hold and honor the sorrows and celebrations among us, including those deeply felt but left here unspoken. Let us pause for a moment of silent meditation, and then Misha will lift our hearts with music. Misha, sometimes when I am sitting here listening, I shut my eyes and I can feel the vibration of your music inside me. It is so beautiful. Thank you. My ears are tired. A colleague shared more or less the same sentiment regarding being always open to hear what his congregants have to say in private meetings with him. He listens as they share a truth about themselves, a truth about their lives, a truth that might move them forward in life, forward to a better life. Notice I did not say the truth. He found that after decades of listening, deep listening, most weren't actually searching for the truth. Instead, they were searching for a truth that aligned with their already held beliefs and positions. He was listening to them, but they were not listening deeply enough to hear beyond themselves. They just wanted someone who would reaffirm their own opinion. And aren't we all? Aren't we always listening for that kind of truth for ourselves, our families, our community, our country? Are we really listening, though, if we are only hearing selectively? If we do not slow the words down and listen for the deeper meaning? Honestly, I think all of our ears are tired. If the past decade showed us anything, it revealed how important that kind of deep and intentional listening is, and how difficult it is to sort through all the voices we hear, both within and outside of ourselves, and discern a truthful way forward. I don't expect that kind of listening to be any less important in the coming months. And just as we need to apply deep listening to global and national issues, we also need to apply that to our relationships right here. Are we really hearing what others need us to hear? You know, that underlying pain or fear or anxiety or sense of hopelessness that is disguised as anger? What about when those feelings are disguised as detachment? We listen, excuse me, we listen for more than words. We listen for feelings, hopes, longings, hurts, distrust, and self-harming blame and shame, among many other things. If we are not listening deeply to the factors that underlie those behaviors, then most often our response will be dismissive and we close our ears. Who suffers then? You know, who are you listening to these days? And who are you not listening to? What are you listening for? What do you want to hear and what do you not want to hear? When I reflect on these questions, I see myself in two ways of listening. And yes, ministers can be poor listeners. Very few people are naturally endowed with that ability. I listen on two levels. One is very superficial, and the other is deep. One with my ears, and the other with my heart. One is closed, the other is open. One tends toward safety, and the other toward vulnerability. One is static, the other dynamic. Does any of this sound familiar in your experience? I can remember, as a child and young teenager, when someone would speak to me for long periods of time, let's say class, Sunday school, my mom, I would just start thinking about something else. And then suddenly I would be jolted back into reality by hearing my name called for some kind of input. My go-to response became, "What?" forcing the adult to either repeat themselves or call me out for daydreaming. Eventually, I noticed I was responding with what before I had even processed whether or not I had actually heard them. It had become a habit of not listening and a knee-jerk reaction to say what. My listening was very selective. I'd like to think I outgrew that selective hearing, but I occasionally fall back into it. Don't we all? So, a truth about me was that I struggled to pay attention. But the truth about me was that I didn't care what was being said. There are times when I hear only what I want to hear, what I agree with, what affirms my life, fits my beliefs. I suspect that may be true for some of you as well. It's a can anything good come from that type of thinking. We don't need or want to hear anything new because we already know. We have already made up our mind. We change the channel, unfollow, delete the post or the friend. We know what we know. We believe what we believe, and we don't need someone messing with that. I have a family member who elicits that thinking from me every time I get an update on their life. Many of you probably have someone like this in your life too. We already know how their next chapter will end because all the others have ended the same way. In this kind of listening, truth is a proposition, an absolute, a concept to which I either give or withhold my approval. If I agree, then it's the truth. If I don't agree, it's not the truth. This kind of listening keeps me safe and comfortable. It excludes from my life anything that would ask me to change, to be different, to move to a new place emotionally. It keeps my focus on the so-called truth teller and their character or lack of. And that focus usually looks like my assumptions, judgments, and labels. My experience is that this superficial kind of listening keeps my world narrow and small. It gives me the illusion that I have the truth, that I know the truth, not only for myself, but for you too. But then, there are those other times when I listen more deeply and intensely. I listen with my heart. I'm not holding on to my life so tightly. I feel connected to something larger and beyond myself. I'm open to the risky business of life. I have faith in life and not just a belief in something or someone. I trust the not knowing, the unexpected, the uncomfortable. I'm willing to admit that I do not have all the truth, that I can't have all the truth. When I listen deeply in my heart, I have the courage, even when I'm afraid, to get out of my silo and go listen. I go hear what I don't know. I think about things I've never given much thought to. I imagine possibilities I've never even considered. I begin to think of others as divine and holy creations, worthy of my meager time and effort to listen to what is important to them, worthy of my meager time and effort to listen with my heart, worthy of my love, worthy of my generosity, worthy of hearing them without judgment. In this kind of listening, truth is not a concept, but a call. It is not a proposition, but a pull. It is not something to be proved or disproved, but something to be done, to which we bear witness with our lives. The focus and responsibility are on me as a truth hearer, This kind of listening sets before me an invitation. It asks something of me: to change, to go, to reach out, to love, to give, to forgive, to heal, to reconcile. It is an invitation not simply to believe a truth, but to do the truth. Even as I say all these things to you, in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, and is that the truth? Every time I stand here to preach the truth, and notice I did not say I stand before you and preach the truth, I don't know if I do or not. That's my intention, my hope, my prayer, but I don't know. Sometimes you let me know. That's a good thing. But I don't know for sure. I know this, however. I never have all the truth, and if I am not first a truth hearer, I cannot be a truth teller. That's not only about preaching, that's about life. That's not only about me, it's also about you. This week, I ask you to listen for some words of life. Listen a little more deeply to those around you. What will you hear in the deep listening of your heart? What is being asked of you? What truth is waiting to be done by you? Thomas Merton wrote, one of the monks, called Serapion, sold his books of the Gospels and gave the money to those who were hungry, saying, I have sold the book which told me to sell all I had and give to the poor. Right? Above and beyond, huh? He listened deeply, didn't he? So do you have it? You know what it is? What is the word of life for you today? Whisper it to yourself, or say it aloud. Hear it with the ears of your heart. What is your word? Truth, peace, compassion, hope, rest, love, forgiveness, patience, beauty, nonviolence, welcome, abundance, courage, perseverance. Whatever your word of life is, don't let it drown in a sea of noise. Give it flesh, hands and feet. Let it come alive in your relationships and how you engage the world. How might you do that word today? What would it be like to let that word enter the world through you? Will you rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 112, Do You Hear?
Our chalice extinguishing words are from the Reverend Emily Gage. May we open our hearts and minds to one another and the world. May we let ourselves be changed by the stories around us. May we deeply listen and be deeply listened to, and be held in silence and love. And so may it always be.
Maybe prayer means listening to the silences between the words, noticing the negativity of space, the vast, undifferentiated, and nameless wonder that underlies it all. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all, but listening with the heart. Our service has now ended. I hope that you have a most glorious week of listening to everyone who has something to tell you. You can start right back here with coffee and conversation in the library.